Happy Monday and welcome to the Wolff Den presented by Win Again Academy. Win Again Academy doing some great things in the networking and educational space. Mark Moyer, check him out. WinAgainAcademy.com. I'm Matt Wolff, founder and CEO of Ticket Time Machine. Today we got Joe Bowers with Party Shack USA. Joe, how are you today?
Great, Matt. How are you?
Yeah, doing great. Coming off a great weekend of sports. We got the Masters week, Major League Baseball as well. You got the national championship game going, so things are picking up a little bit on the sports end. But tell everybody who you are and a little bit about Party Shack, and we'll get into a lot of stuff in sports and VIP and fan experience.
Yeah, Matt. My background's in coaching. I had the privilege of being on Jimmy Johnson's staff. First head job at Oklahoma State University. My oldest son was the third-ranked safety 10 years in America. And he had the opportunity to go to Oklahoma for Bob Stoops, my business, in great school they were at here in Jacksonville, Florida. And then Timmy soon transferred, and my younger son, who's my partner, blowing out his knee and changing to golf. So telling you that is we're a pretty athletic family. We've been involved with sports since day one as a family. And when Brett, when he played at Oklahoma for his 5 years, we had the opportunity to become experienced tailgaters. We had a 44-foot tag axle RV. We left in Oklahoma. We towed a Hummer behind it. And keep up with the Joneses for 5 years with all the alumni, and we traveled to all the games. And through that experience, my middle son decided he's an engineer in terms of his college education, and he's very talented. He decided he was going to have a Party Shack so that the average person at a sports event in the parking lot prior to the game, during the game, and after the game, and the tailgate portable enough to set up prior to the game and take down, and much like a pod, be able to store it and then bring it back for the next game. So that's how we came up with the concept of Party Shack.
Yeah, I'm a big tailgater. Everyone who knows me knows I love tailgating. We do some gummy worms and pickleback shots and grill and everything. So tailgating is a huge part of the experience for me. And I could tell you that, being here in South Florida, we used to go to probably 7 or 8 Marlins games at the old stadium because we could go into the parking lot and head up shop for about 3 hours prior and kind of just hang out on a Saturday afternoon. It became a lot more difficult. Well, there is actually no tailgating down at the new Marlins ballpark, although it's a nice ballpark. And then also, tailgating for all the events that we go to all around the country. We were supposed to go to the Ole Miss Florida game last year and probably could have still gone, but part of the experience for us is being able to enjoy the game day experience and being able to enjoy, the nightlife of it. So without that, we just kind of said, you know what, we're going to sit this one out and wait until the following year when we can actually have the full experience. So tailgating is huge. I see, tailgating companies, I forget the name of them, but they'll set up everything up shop right outside the stadium. You see that a lot in college football. But your stuff is also, I had firsthand experience with Party Shack at a music festival that was with a VIP. So, what percent is tailgating outside of a venue, and what percent is actually VIP type experiences inside the event for you guys? You're breaking up a little bit here. Hold on, let's see. You back? I think there's a little bit of a delay. Can you hear me?
Yeah. There's company that's done an excellent job. Are you all right?
Yeah, you're breaking up quite a bit here. I'm trying to.
I'm back. Yeah, Matt. Start over. Nancy, there's a company called. Okay.
Yeah, it was Brady. You were talking about the tailgate guys, I think. I think you're probably gonna have to try and log in again with a better connection. Let's see if we can see if you can log back out and log back in. No, we're having some technical difficulties here with Joe. Hopefully, we can get some better connection here. And then let's see if he can get back. So yeah, we're talking tailgating and we're talking VIP experience. As I mentioned, I had experienced Party Shack. Was able to have some VIP tickets for the iHeart Radio Music Festival outdoors, and it was a great view from the stage. Still a great environment. Being able to eat some food and have some drinks and be in the shade and go inside if you want to take a break, especially at a music event where you could still kind of hear it, hear what's going on, and just take a break. So I love the idea of Party Shack and what they're doing. Hopefully Joe can join us back again, and we can get a better connection. And here we go. Joe is back, and maybe there we go. Joe's back. Kind of not really. Are you on your phone or direct into a computer? Usually the computer works better.
No, I'm on my phone.
Okay. Oh, I hear you now. So can you hear me? Are we back?
Are you?
I think it's your connection on your phone. You might have to try and walk to a better place in the room or area. That might help.
Okay. Yeah, I'm actually kind of remote. We gonna be all right? We good, Matt?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. Maybe if I turn the screen. You hear me?
Yep.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay, I'm good. You good?
We're good here. So I think you were telling us about the tailgate guys that operate outside the college stadiums, right?
Yeah. Yep. Matt, tailgate guys have done a great job over the past 10 years or so. Started at Auburn University. They have a tent open air experience for students as well as alumni. And they kind of created in the college space a great white glove turnkey tailgate experience. Um, our experience was with the NFL. I knew some folks in the NFL after we built our original prototype of our first Party Shack. We contacted the NFL and they had us go to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we did in 2018. We did 9 games in the parking lot with our first unit that we built on a case study. And basically, the case study, Matt, came back and said that our unit enhanced the fan experience and it created incremental revenue for the team. And those were 2 big buzzwords for the NFL and for the NFL owners. So from there, we signed a contract with Public Supermarkets and with the Jaguars to do the last 2 seasons games there. And we expanded to the Atlanta Falcons in the Home Depot backyard with Publix. And we expanded to Major League Soccer with Publix. And we found out that sponsors really liked the venue as well because they could brand it and get a lot of sponsor exposure. And we created these villages with 10 units in a village, and it became a 3-hour pregame tailgate. It became a 4-hour during the game tailgate for those people that didn't have tickets, and then an hour for after the game. So it was a full day white glove
turnkey tailgate experience.
So I was going to ask, the tailgating outside, is it like 3 different events before, during, and after? Or is it, hey, you could have access to it at all? Because you might want to turn over some people who want to have the pregame but are going to go inside and then might want to be there on the outs, after the game.
Yeah, I tell you what, there's about 400 people in the tailgate in 10 different units. And because Publix, with their Aprons catering division in their stores, does the food and beverage and all the alcohol, there's beer, wine, there's soda, and there's alcohol included. So the 3-hour pregame is when the food is prepared right on site. It's cooked right on site. The folks eat. Then most of the people, I'd say 90% of the people, go to the game. But depending on how the outcome of the game, they eventually come back, if not for the hour after the game, so they don't have to fight traffic. But some of them will come back at halftime. And the weather will dictate if it's real hot or if it's rainy or if it's windy. To be honest with you, the women really prefer our tailgates because they're air conditioned inside. They have an opportunity to be in the air conditioning, the flat screen TV. They have an opportunity to go up on top, the second story veranda. There's a sunbrella. We also provide high-end kind of PGA Tour-like restrooms with attendance. So it's really a white glove turnkey experience. And the folks that utilize our units are the same people that are leasing the suites in the stadium. They just don't want to get their hands dirty, and they want a white glove turnkey tailgate experience and enjoy that as well.
Yeah, it's kind of, I kind of compare it to glamping a little bit. You're out in the wild, but if you need to go to the bathroom, you go to the bathroom. What's that cost me, average cost as a fan, to have that kind of experience as a fan? Do you know?
Yeah, it's different depending on what team and what market. But I'll give you an example here with the Jacksonville Jaguars. We charged $89.95, and that was the full 8-hour, 3-hour pregame, 4 hours during the game, an hour after the game. That included, like I said, beer, wine, open bar the entire day, and it included the buffet that Aprons and Publix provided in terms of the food, which changed every single game. We tried to have a different menu according to what team came into town. So so $89.95 for an 8-hour tailgate, all the food, all the alcohol, and you could lease an entire unit of around 40 people pre-COVID if you wanted to. So a business might lease the entire unit and then invite 40 people. They might do it just for a game, or they might do it for the entire season. And then we also had suites that shared suites, we call them, where you could buy individual tickets. And you might come with 4, 6, 8 people, or you may come with just 2 people, and then you share a suite with the other people until you get to the 40 number, if you will.
Yeah. Did they get a discount for 40 people, or is it just 89?
The only discounts, first responders, the police, the fire department, first responders, nurses. That's military. We give a discount 10%. To any of those, but otherwise, because of the demand and because of the fact that we only have 10 at each ball game in a designated area, it's just the first responders that we do the discount for.
Got it. We talked a little bit before about the pandemic. You said you guys are doing great today, and these first in 2021, and I assume that's with the upcoming seasons and news of higher attendance and just events in general coming back. So talk a little bit about what last year was for you guys and how you navigated through, and about this year, seeing things come back.
Well, because of COVID in 2020, everybody in the hospitality industry was affected the same. We literally in 2020 were lucky to have had 1 or 2 events. I think we did Florida, Georgia for the Georgia Bulldog Club here in Jacksonville, and we may have done one other event prior to COVID. So it was a tough year last year in 2020. We pivoted a little bit as a result of COVID, where we found out that our units, the air conditioning units, much like an airplane, could be converted to get a 99.9% rate of cleanliness inside the units. So we had all our air conditioning units upgraded so we could do that. We found out we could use different lights inside the units to assist with the same. So we converted our lights over. We found out that the CDC preferred hard surfaces that are easy to clean, which our units are all aluminum and metal, versus canvas tinted material. So that was a positive. And then ultimately, nobody with COVID, and I think people are still uncomfortable with COVID, even with the vaccines, being in large groups, with 1,000 people in a tent, that's got canvas sides and air conditioning inside of it, sharing a buffet. We found out like the PGA Tour and NASCAR, they all wanted smaller venues, and they're all going towards smaller venues, which is ideal for our party shacks. So we're finding out 10 and 12 is the maximum capacity post COVID for any type of tailgates or any type of outdoor entertainment, whether that's a concert, whether it's a festival, a sporting event. We're hearing the same. So that works out really, really good for our units based on the size of them.
I would say, has there been any conversation to doing like a 4-person pod connected next to each other? I see those that type of seating. I think it'd be perfect for what you guys are doing.
We own the intellectual property with our products. My son did a great job in 2017, structurally engineering all of our units. And one of our patents is what you just talked about. We can put what we call stacking pins in the 4 corners of all of our units, and then you can stack units on top of each other, or just next to each other with those stacking pins. So you see those a lot with shipping containers. People that buy discounted shipping containers and then convert them into homes or convert them into some sort of restaurant or venue. But yeah, we have the ability to stack ours. Customarily, our VIP suites and our spectator suites, the spectator suite has a spiral staircase to the second story. It's 32 feet long by 8 feet wide. And our VIP suites has a stairwell that goes up on the side to a platform, again with 8 by 8 by 16.5 in length. So we can fit on top of our units, for the events at about a 9.5-foot height, which is ideal to be able to see concerts, to be able to see in the parking lot, and be able to, kind of everybody looking up and saying, how did you get up there? And I envy you, and how can I get up there and enjoy, that second story as well. And we have umbrellas on the top to keep the sun off of them as well. So that's why our units are so popular. The combination of the air conditioning, the awning on the side with the TV on the side, much like an RV, and then the second story opportunity is great, especially at NASCAR, PGA Tour, Live Nation for concerts.
Yeah, as I said, I was trying to say to you, and I said when we had some difficulty earlier, I was in one of your VIP suites in Vegas for the iHeart Festival, and it was hot out there. And so we enjoyed going into the air conditioning for a few minutes here and there, and then getting back out up top and having a nice view and sound. Really great experience for us. And I don't mind being in the trenches too. So I'm happy to do that, but also to have the opportunity to be in that nice environment. Some people like it for the whole time. Some people like to go back and forth. Some people, so it's not for some people, it's not for at all. They say, look, I don't care if you give this to me for free. I'm going to be right up there in the front with everyone else trying to, see as good as I can or hear as good as I can. And that's fine. Everyone's got their own type of experience that they like for an event. You find a lot of people not going to events in person because they like sitting on their couch, eating and drinking. So you're kind of bringing us close to that, almost as you can with kind of being there. And it sounds like at a reasonable price. So how many units do you guys have currently?
we started really manufacturing these units in 2018 after our initial test. 2019, then COVID hit, and now we're back to some significant manufacturing. We have three different products. One's a VIP suite. Our second product is a spectator suite, and our third product is a porta bar. If the VIP suites ship on a flatbed truck, three to a flatbed truck, and you have to have a forklift to put them on the ground to activate them. So I'll get to your question here in a second. The spectator suites are like a tag axle trailer with a boat trailer, and the 32-foot spectator suite's actually welded to the trailer, and it's towed by a 250 or 350, pickup truck. The porta bar, has its own trailer, and it self levels itself, picks itself up off the trailer. You pull the trailer through, and it self levels itself down onto the ground. So I would say we probably built about 65 to 70 units in the past 2 years, and we currently have about 45 units in production right now that we're making. So we'll just be over 110 units in our short period of time that we've been in business, this being our third year.
Do they house in like different areas of the country so they don't have to go too far? Or
Yeah, we started in Jacksonville, so we had a village with about 12 units downtown Jacksonville, and then you can move those units around. We did about 18 events pre-COVID in the Jacksonville area from those 14. So we did motocross, we did beachfront surfing contests night and day. We did festivals, we did concerts. So you can move them around. Then we had 4 units in Orlando. We had another 4 units in Atlanta. And then we have what's called a supplier program, kind of like a distributorship, where we have 5 suppliers in the Midwest that they all have units that they purchase from us and then lease out and or sell. And they're from Dallas on up to Kansas City to Des Moines, Iowa, all the way up to Minneapolis. So we're pretty much got the Midwest covered through our supplier network. We handle the Southeast, and we're really not in the Northeast yet or the West Coast.
it's but weather probably has something to do with that, or
Yeah. Well, I think it gets back to we're a young company. We're only on our third year, so we're a startup company. It gets back to like any other business. As you grow the business, you got to finance the business, and you got to project your production and stay in front of your orders. So we've gone through that, and then of course you had the COVID hiccup, and now we're pretty well back to normal, where we've added a manufacturer in Dallas, Texas. It's an international company, a huge facility, 480,000 square feet. They do a lot in the quick service restaurant industry. So the way they produce a lot of their aluminum and steel that we required was ideal for us. So that's helped us now with our manufacturing. We're going to add, once we get into the fall with more events, we're going to add some suppliers on the West Coast and eventually in the Northeast as well. And then we've got a lot of people watching us, if you will. People that are think we've got a very unique product. Think that we've done our homework, like our cost structure, like our product offering. So we've got a lot of people talking to us that are already in the hospitality space that have expressed interest in perhaps merging, or perhaps working hand in hand, or perhaps being our sales organization. So we're going through those discussions right now as well. So I think you're going to find Party Shack's going to, I don't know if explode's the correct word, but we're getting pretty close to blowing up here and getting much larger, much quicker, because our product works.
Yeah, that's great. I look forward to hearing more about that. It's always good to see, you start out with a family like a father and son. I mean, that's got to be a pretty cool thing to experience as a parent.
No, it is. Like I said earlier, when we had a few technical difficulties, my family's a very athletic family, and my oldest son, again, played major college football. My middle son, who's my partner, played major college golf, and was very competitive in football until he blew his knee out. And my daughter's very competitive, as is my wife, and got a lot of relationships in coaching and in this industry. And I'm up there in age. I'm ready to retire here soon, over probably the next 5 or 6 years. But I've never had more fun in my life, in marketing and selling and promoting a product than our product with Party Shack. It's a huge industry, as you well know, with the concert industry coming back now, and with the festivals, and then all the football and all the basketball and baseball and all the college sports as well. The industry's huge, and our product works. It doesn't matter whether you take it to a concert or whether you take it to a ball game, it works the same. And everybody's always saying, why didn't I think of that? That's a great idea. Congratulations, so to speak. And it works. We haven't had any complaints. We haven't had any issues over the 3 years. It just plain works. And we're proud to have the opportunity to continue to promote it and continue to grow the business.
Yeah, it's important to be able to enjoy and to be passionate about what you're selling, or the product that you're doing. So it's great to hear you talk about that. I'm a big tailgate. I mean, I love tailgating. Yes, my friends, I won't go to a concert without sitting in the parking lot and drinking a couple beers and having a sandwich beforehand. So it's good to have a tailgate that's ready made, because there's a lot of people who are like me who like the experience, but they don't enjoy the cooking or the gathering of it's a little bit of a hassle. I got to try and get the grill and go get the food and plan for everyone. So there's something to be said for just showing up and just doing it. And I'm a planner, so I'm not the right guy for that, although I do enjoy that experience. But I can tell you that I have friends who tell me, man, I love, really, thank you for doing what you do when we talk about our trips and all this, because I love, all I got to do is show up. That's it. I just got to show up and eat and drink and hang out with my friends and have a good time. Sign me up. So I think you are going to see, a lot of these places add this to the mix, because you're not even talking about having to have a huge crowd either. You technically can't, right? If you're talking about 40 people in a thing, and even if you have 10 across, that's not a big number when you're talking about 100,000 at a college game and 40,000 at a 30,000 at a baseball. So it's not a huge number that you have to hit, that the people have to do in getting this. Have people bought your stuff and own it, or is it all rental at this point?
It started out in the first 2 years, when we were proofing the concept. Everybody wanted to rent it. Okay. But now that we've had a couple years under our belt, and we have a pro forma, and we can show the return on the investment to clients, now they're all buying them. So I think that's a real good testimonial that our product works and that people can get a return on their investment. So the sponsors, like a Publix, for instance, or a Red Bull, or a liquor, a vodka company, those type of folks, or a beverage company, they're more inclined to lease it and use it for one or two events, that they sponsor a year. But we've done everything from X Games to, like I said, NFL games to night surfing contests on the beach, to festivals. We've done it all, motocross, and it works at all of them. Again, because it's portable, it's easy to set up, easy to get in, easy to activate, and then easy to get out. And if you really think about it, Matt, when you go to a traditional golf tournament with the PGA Tour, that village of tents that you see throughout that 18-hole, huge golf complex, those are all custom built. And it normally takes about 3 months to set them up, and it normally takes about 2 months to take them down. Our units you can bring in the week before, and you can set them up. You can activate for the 4 days, and you can take them out the week after. So we don't do as much damage in terms of scaffolding and the units being on the ground and killing the grass. We're in and out. So portability was one of the big reasons why we put these on trailers, and we made these and built them so that they could be delivered on flatbed, trucks, if you will. And that's just something that when we evaluated the product, we knew was going to be important. So, yeah, it's I see a bright future for Party Shack. I don't think COVID is going to make as big effect on Party Shack as it might with some other venues, larger venues where there's more people. Everybody feels a little more comfortable post COVID. If you're going with your family or going with your neighbors or your friends to and enjoy an event and being together. So again, I think you're going to see smaller units, which ours are. Smaller fan activation areas, which ours provide, and the ability to keep them as clean as possible, and the ability to make them as portable as possible. So you can get to most any event, whether it's a football game or whether it's an activity on the beach.
So, at a first quick glance, this seems like it's a real VIP luxury type item, but it can scale lower. Obviously, you've been involved with some big events and big teams like the NFL. Where do you see it being applicable? How small can we go down? Can you go down to a small city festival, or how do you see this playing out as you guys move forward? Or do you have plans for making it, scaling it to more affordable?
Well, that's a great question. And again, there's a lot of different applications for our product, but I'll give you a couple examples to answer. One of the major retailers had us come in and wanted us to build these units to put out in their parking lot so that you could drive through and pick up your retail and grocery items, if you will. So that'll give you an idea. Some of these retailers has thousands of stores and they wanted several units. So there's an example for you. During COVID, people wanted our units, to have as training centers. During the summer when it's hot, it's hard for nurses and first responders to be outside all day long. So our units were used because of the air conditioning, and that the nurses could relax and do their training on the TVs via Wi-Fi, if you will. So that was another interesting application. Again, what we're finding out is we primarily built the units to be portable for tailgating, but we're finding out there's tons of different applications, for the units, again, because they're small, they're portable, easy to set up and easy to move around. So there's all kinds of applications for the units, not just tailgating.
Are people going to put this in residential? I mean, do you have designs that could be, for my backyard? Because I'm building a tiki bar right now, but I can envision something like this in the backyard of someone who's got some room.
We actually, the numbers weren't huge, but we actually built some units for offices for executives at their homes. Air conditioner on the top, if you will, 8 foot wide by 8 foot by 8 foot tall, with a door, an air conditioning unit, and then small office furniture inside. And again, because of the portability, they could put it on a footer in their back lawn, or they could put it in their front driveway, on a temporary basis. One interesting thing with our units, they're not large enough. They were designed to stay so that you don't need any permits, if you will, to put our units in. And we also designed them so that they fit on flatbed trucks and semi trucks and be able to be transported, cost effectively. So that's one thing in our design that we did. The other thing, all our units are self-leveling. So once you get them, I could see, to answer your question, Matt, I could see you not wanting to have a birthday party in your house for your kids with a bunch of kids, and you could order one of these and put them in your driveway, and you could have the party in your driveway, if you will, and then we drop it off. You have your birthday party, you have your anniversary, you have your party, and activate it. You can be inside of it, on the side, on top, and then when the party's over, you call us up and we pick it up. We kind of designed the product around pods, if you will, pods in the moving and storage industry.
Yeah.
And conceptually, we think long term our units will be used the same. So we think long term, rather than you build a permanent bar in your back lawn around your pool, we think you're going to order our porta bars and have them delivered and set up in your driveway or around your pool, and then let us come and get them after your party. So
Yeah, we see that with the portable bars and on the side of a truck, and so it's very similar to that, but it's a different experience because you're getting the actual bar and not just the serving of the alcohol. So I can see where that would be a good fit for you guys. We're talking with Joe Bowers here, president of Party Shack USA. This is the Wolff Den, presented by Win Again Academy. And let's talk a little bit about your background and the family background and sports, since that's obviously where this all started. I know we broke up. You were a coach first, right? A football coach. How did that come to be? Where did you grow up? What sports did you play? Give us a little bit of background there.
I was born and raised in upstate New York, Ithaca, New York, where Cornell University is. It's a beautiful area, a lot of beautiful lakes called the Finger Lakes, and upstate New York's and the Northeast is a little different than here in Florida and the ACC and the SEC, in that there's fewer major colleges. If you think about it, you got Syracuse, you got Boston College, you got Pitt, you got Penn State, you got Connecticut. Whereas down here, the schools are in closer proximity here in the Southeast, and there's more of them, and the conferences are huge with the ACC and the SEC. So a little different in upstate New York, where I was born and raised. So I played Division III football at a college named Ithaca College, played for a great coach named Jim Butterfield, and was fortunate to go 4 years undefeated and play 3 straight years, my sophomore, junior, and senior year, for the national championship in a bowl called the Amos Alonzo Stag Bowl, believe it or not.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's my football background. And I ended up being a coach and a teacher on the high school level for my first 3 years when I was only 21 years old, right out of college. And I did quite well. And Jimmy Johnson was at the University of Pittsburgh. He was defensive coordinator. Pitt had a great year. And I was at a coaching clinic in Binghamton, New York, and I was speaking on behalf of the High School Coaches Association of New York, and Jimmy was speaking on behalf of the College Coaches Association right behind me. And he actually stopped me when I came off the stage, and he asked me to stick around, that he wanted to visit with me after he had gotten done with his presentation. So I did, and Jimmy said that he enjoyed my presentation, and I enjoyed meeting him. And it was kind of a unique experience, but he offered me a position on his staff. It wasn't even announced, at Oklahoma State University. And so I joined Jimmy on his staff, and I coached the defensive ends and I coached the special teams. And I'm too old, and a lot of your guests probably won't know who Dexter Manley was, but I coached Dexter Manley, a defensive end from Houston, Texas. Dexter was, every bit of 6'6", 272 pounds, and ran a true, 4.4 40, which was unbelievable in his time. Eventually went to the Washington Redskins and played with the Skins. So that was probably the best player that I had coached. But I had a great relationship with Jimmy, Dave Wanstead, Tony Wise, a lot of the coaches that have gone on, Butch Davis, they've gone on and done quite well. And I changed careers. I got into the packaging industry with Mobile Chemical Company, and enjoyed 25 years or so in packaging, and then sold my business 5 or 6 years ago and couldn't stay retired. So my son Bobby and I became partners in this Party Shack business and designed the initial Party Shack, and we've been having fun ever since. Love working with my kids, love being with my kids. They're all at the age where my daughter's married, anxious to have kids, and her husband is a defensive coordinator at a local school here, private school called Bowles High School in Jacksonville, and he's doing quite well. Hopefully going to be interviewing for the dean of students there. So our families, know the Tebow family real well. Timmy and his brothers played at the same schools that my kids played at. So Timmy doesn't live too far from us, and we see their family every year when we go to the TPC golf tournament, and just very active sports family, very competitive. And I kind of believe in the golden rule. You treat people the way you want other people to treat you. And I'm a firm believer, you get knocked down, you get back up. And I'm not, the most favorite saying in the world I've ever heard from anybody is a saying that Jimmy had when with his staff. And that was, I don't want to hear the labor pains. I want to see the pretty baby. And there's not a negative bone in Jimmy Johnson's body. He wants to be positive, wants all his people around him to be positive, all his players positive, and as a result, he gets the most out of them. So that's kind of how we built this business, this Party Shack business. Is we want to be the best, we want to be the most responsive, the most unique, the most competitive, and we want to take advantage of being first to market, and it's paying off.
Yeah, I love golden rule. I mean, that's top of the list for me and my company, but it doesn't get as much play as it should, unfortunately. And I love how great was Jimmy Johnson, the footage of him getting told that he was in the hall. That was I'm not a big Jimmy fan just because Gators, and I hated the Cowboys, but you got to respect what he does, and he does a great job on TV, and so that's it's good to see him get recognized for that. What's your tailgate go to back in the day? I mean, your tailgate. What are you eating? What are you drinking?
Well, our best tailgate days, candidly, was when we were at Oklahoma, and when we were traveling to away games. All the parents would drive or fly to the away games, and there'd be a handful of people like our family that would drive the RVs and get there a day in advance. So it wasn't unusual at Oklahoma for us to have at a home game 100 plus people at our RV, and on an away game, at 60 or 70 people. So it wasn't unusual to go out and get the groceries and to get the food and to have a $1,200 bill for the day, of getting the sausage and the onions and the peppers and the fish fillets and people would at the home games bring some of their own food. And we had a big huge custom grill that it would take my two brother-in-laws and myself and three people to cook all the food. And after the game, the players would be there with their girlfriends and family, and everybody would pretty much line up. So that's why we were so confident that we started Party Shack. We learned way back, in our college days watching Brett, that we were the premier tailgaters, and that was our intention with Party Shack as well, to offer, again, I don't want you to think it's a cliche, but our tailgates are truly white glove turnkey. They're great experiences. We even have with the Jaguars and with the Atlanta Falcons, their drum corps comes over for about 15 minutes and plays, about an hour prior to the game. So it's really it's a great experience, and you get a lot of businesses that love it, that are side by side, that become friends that they wouldn't otherwise because of that whole tailgating experience. And people like to walk around and not stay just in their VIP suite, but within the gates, it's 350 feet by 50 feet, and everybody gets to know everybody, and it's a great business atmosphere as well for people to network at the games, and become business associates, if you will.
Yeah, we go. I mean, all the tailgates I go to, I don't even bring a grill anymore. I just bring meat and be like, I'm going to know somebody at this tailgate who has a grill, or I'm going to meet someone who's got a grill, and just people are very friendly in that way. We do a trip, so I do a lot of trips every year. We have a lot of traditions. One of my traditions is to go to an away Gator football game. And the tailgating that we've been to LSU and A&M, it's even the stuff at Kentucky and Bama, Mississippi State. Those places are all first class tailgating. Funny enough, I did see Auburn right around when they first started the tailgate guys. And outside of that, I wasn't as impressed with Auburn, and this is going back a long way, with their whole tailgating scene. We have great tailgates for the Gators, but I don't think Gainesville as a whole is a great tailgating scene either, especially not compared to the rest of the SEC, which I've been to. What are some of your favorite places outside of Oklahoma that you've been to for a tailgate that just kind of is like it's just everyone's the friendliest and sharing food. I mean, I don't let someone walk by without offering them, something to eat or drink, because, at the
Yeah,
end of
I've been around all around the country. Again, to all the Brett's games that OU traveled, but I would say if I had to pick one, I'd pick Texas A&M.
yeah,
That whole weekend at Texas A&M with their midnight madness the night before the game, where all the students go and fill the stadium, and the drum corps
yeah,
during the game, and the tailgate that they put on, it's special at Texas A&M. So I'd have to put them up there. When 2 or 3 years ago, when Texas A&M played here at the Tax Slayer Bowl, they brought in 11 busloads, 450 alumni
wow,
to our village, and we had a 10-hour tailgate that day, and it was really two tailgates. It was a tailgate prior to the game. It was New Year's Eve, so they came back and ate after the game, and then went back for the fireworks on New Year's. So those people are special when it comes to tailgating, and it's a great experience at Texas A&M. I tell you, a really nice place to have a tailgate again. But Colorado was a great place, believe it or not, just
yeah,
because their campus was so beautiful, and there wasn't any one place that people tailgated. You kind of got there and tried to pick your own tailgate space. And Colorado was always a nice place to go, and a nice place to stay, and a nice place to tailgate. You're not gonna beat any of the SEC schools. Believe it or not, Auburn, I think, is the biggest in terms of the total number of tents that are set up. I've heard as many as 400 for some games at Auburn, so that's a huge place to tailgate. And the Grove, the Grove's got to be one of the top places as well.
that's where I was so I mean, look, all these are, I don't know what you want to call them. They're luxuries, but the one thing that disappointed me the most about the pandemic was canceling my Grove trip last September, because if you remember, I was actually at A&M the year they came to the league, and I was at the game. It was the first SEC game for A&M. Manziel was there, and they pushed the Ole Miss game back another 10, 12 years because of that. And now, I mean, I might not have a chance to see the Gators play in Ole Miss, and man, I'm going to be in my 60s by the time that happened. So I was so disappointed to not go to the Grove. I'm looking for. I'll probably have to go to a game there without it being the Gators. But A&M was so. I mean, the nicest people you'll ever meet in your life. I thought they were kidding. I mean, I thought they were messing with us when everyone comes and starts saying howdy, and really be welcome. I mean, they won't let you go to a bar without buying you a shot. And that's, I mean, we didn't go to one bar and we didn't have to pay for the first shot of any bar we went to. Oh, you're new, you're a Gator? Come on, we'll buy you a shot. I'm like, so it's part of that's, part of how I operate as a tailgater is just by learning the greatness of a community of the tailgaters that are out there. And, I'll never stop tailgating. My tailgating days differ and they change over the years, obviously. There'll be a time where I can't get up at 7 a.m. and get to the tailgate spot again. But man, some of the best memories of all sporting events are my tailgating days. So it's good to hear you say A&M is up there for you. And college football is just, that's probably the best tailgating of anything, I would think. There's people tailgate for NFL and all of that, but I feel like college football is. Is there a sport or an event that you're surprised that there's not more tailgating at?
I actually think, man, I'm going to twist your question a little bit. I actually think I think NASCAR,
Yeah,
PGA Tour. I think today's millennials and college students and that whole college tailgating, beer drinking, having fun atmosphere is what some of these sports is going to turn to. Some because of COVID, but others with the whole idea of going after that demographic. And I'm not saying when you watch the Phoenix Open, for instance, I think it's hole number 17 or hole number 16, where they put the tents all the way around the par three, and the players come in and the people are tailgating and having a good time. I think you're going to start seeing that NASCAR, PGA Tour, concert venues are going to want to have those type of same college pregame tailgates available, maybe off in the woods, you know, where you go and you go to your PGA Tour and you walk your favorite greens and you watch your favorite golfer, but then you would go down into the woods and there'd be a village created, if you will, 10, 12, 15 party shacks, again, air conditioning and restrooms and an ability to have your lunch and then regroup and go back to the tournament. I think you're going to start. We're dealing with some racetracks now. We're on turn 4 and turn 3 where they have a lot of RVs. They now want to put party shacks and create that college football environment, if you will, much like Texas A&M has and these major colleges. So I think you're going to see more of that across the sports spectrum, if you will. Now I can tell you where they're ideal. They're ideal at concerts when you can be up close to the concert arena and you can have 10 or 12 of your friends and you're within, you know, throwing distance of the stage. They're absolutely ideal for concerts. So I think you're going to see a lot of them at concerts as well, where, you know, people are going to want to, again, levitate to just having a small group and having their own friends or their own business associates you know, in the venue. So I think you'll start seeing a lot of party shacks or similar units at concerts as well.
Yeah, like I said, I don't go to a concert without tailgating in some form or fashion. So I'm with you on the concerts, and I hear a lot of stories about, you know, the Belmont and NASCAR races inside and some rowdy partying going on there. So it definitely makes sense that might be the next step for them. We got the Masters coming this week. Obviously, that's a bucket list for a lot of people. It's a bucket list for me. You've been fortunate to go to a lot of events. Do you have a favorite event or two, and what's on your list that you haven't been able to get to yet?
One of my favorite, it was a long time ago where my parents actually took me when I was in high school, was you know, the Indianapolis 500. That was special. I can distinctly remember going to that and, you know, the festivities that led up to it. So I think that's a great event. I'm a huge college bowl game guy. I don't think you know, college bowl games are awesome when you can go to a new city and you can attend a bowl and you can see two teams, you know, playing in the top 6. It doesn't get any better than that. I'm a real college football guy, you know, like tonight, you know, with the Final Four game tonight, you know, those are events that you always want to go to. I haven't been to the Kentucky Derby yet. I've heard it's unreal. Would love to go to the Kentucky Derby, you know, and experience that. My, you know, right there at the Orange Bowl at the national championship, Oklahoma playing Florida, didn't get any better than that for the 3 days I was there, you know, tailgating and enjoying that. So I'm a kind of biased because I'm a college football guy, but
Yeah,
you know, any major championship, you know, it's got to be awesome to go to the Super Bowl, you know, and to be there for a week prior to the game and go to all the events. So I'm not biased one way or the other. But it's hard to beat college football. It's hard to beat the Super Bowl. I would think it's hard to beat. You know, I've been to NASCAR events and it's pretty exciting when those cars start up and they take that first lap. That's pretty exciting as well. So I'd like to do them all, and I'd like to do them all in the next 6 years. You know, in our party shack villages, enjoying it like we've been the past 2.
I can't blame you there. So, you know, I was at that Oklahoma game with my twin brother, who also graduated from UF with me, and it'll be hard to top that in a sports moment for me. We were there. I picked him up from the airport, and we went right to the parking lot, and we were probably there by 9 o'clock in the morning, and just had a great day. And we don't get too drunk when we do the tailgate because we want to watch be able to watch the game and enjoy it. But yeah, it was the only problem with that is it's on a Monday or a Tuesday, and you know we've been to the Final Four, and that Saturday at the Final Four is about as good, especially when you win, but about as great an event as you can get to. But you know, Masters, Kentucky Derby, that's always on our bucket list. So hopefully, I hope you get there in the next 5 5 or 6 years, that would be great. How about a Mount Rushmore for? Let's do this. Your college football Mount Rushmore. Who are the 4 greatest players in college football history?
Whew. Tough questions.
Or maybe even the ones that you saw.
All right, so you got to remember, I'm a dinosaur, so I'm 66 years old. So I may name some people that some of your audience might not even
Yeah,
remember.
that's all right.
I'm being from upstate New York and watching Doug Flutie with the immaculate reception. I gotta. That was just awesome. So I gotta say Doug Flutie. Is a. I would say the next person that I truly admire, is Timmy Tebow. Being from Jacksonville and Timmy being a Jacksonville player and knowing his family and knowing his faith and how he and his family conduct themselves, day in and day out from day one. It doesn't get much better than that. I think you're seeing where I'm going with this. I'm really big on players that do it right day in and day out. And so I'd say Flutie and Tebow, and then if it just gets down to raw talent, this is hard. It'd have to be somebody at OU, considering Brett played there. So maybe a Billy Sims at OU. He was as good as they got when when we were following OU.
He won twice. He won the Heisman twice.
Yeah, he may have, but he was something else. And then I gotta pick somebody more recent that I just think's a great athlete. Why don't you give me a choice of 3? And
I think Barry Sanders and Marshall Faulk are the 2 best, maybe running backs.
All right. Well, I recruited Barry Sanders, so thanks for the help. He, again, character-wise, it doesn't get any better. The guy's absolutely unreal. I'm going to tell you real quick a Barry Sanders story. When he was only recruited by Oklahoma State and Kansas State, and when we got down to picking our last 2 scholarships at Oklahoma State, the discussion became Darrell Sheffey out of Washington, D.C., a great defensive lineman, or Barry Sanders. And Dave Wanstead was recruiting Washington, so he was pushing Sheffey. Paul Jett and myself had recruited Barry, so we were pushing Barry. To make a long story short, Barry's freshman year, the starting running back for us at the time, Thurman Thomas, already had 100+ yards at the end of the first quarter. So when we were trying to see who was going to go in to start running, our defensive coordinator at the time grabbed Barry Sanders and says, "Go in there and return this punt." Now, I might not have it in the right order, but they punted, he caught it, he juked one way, he went 83 yards, touchdown. So the next time the team kicked off to us, that same defensive coach, Pat Jones, grabbed Barry Sanders and says, "Go in and return this kickoff." They kicked it to the goal line. He returned it 100 yards, touchdown. Then they put him in the backfield the start of the second half and did a pitch sweep, and he had ran for 55 yards for a touchdown. That's the honest to God truth. His first 3 times he touched it, he scored by a punt return, a kickoff return, and from the line of scrimmage. And that's how good that guy is.
Imagine having a backfield of Thomas and Sanders that's nuts. They're really crazy. But I'm a big, sad that Sanders cut his career short to really see what it could have been. And it was, it's a Hall of Fame career as it was, but probably the right move for him now looking back, I would think.
I think so. Yeah, he's got to be in that. He's got to be in that top 4.
Yeah. We you touched on a lot of things. We actually have been in conversation with the Tebow Foundation. We're hoping to have someone from them come on the Wolff Den. I know they got a lot of stuff busy. We're talking to Nick Carparelli of the new bowl season, and he's doing some really great things with rebranding the bowl season. So I think this upcoming bowl season you're going to see some really cool things going on. But we'll let you go on this. We ask this of every guest. Pick one person who you can spend 24 hours a day with, 24 hours with, one day, 24 hours with. You can't be related to them, and they have to be alive. Who are you going to pick, and what are you guys going to do? And we're going to make this happen for one of our guests. So I think it's
Are you going to make it happen? I don't know if I should do that, but I'm going to tell you, if you could get me one day on a golf course to play, just to hit one drive with Donald Trump, I would love it.
we got someone else doing it. We got someone else pick Trump too. So we'll see if we can make that happen. And it would be a wild scene, I'm sure. But we'll see if we can get that. He's on the list for you. He's already on the list before. Joe Bowers, Party Shack USA, thanks for your time today. Really looking forward to seeing the growth of you. Excited to be at a Party Shack event next time I roll in to an event that has it. We got the information at the bottom, but tell everybody how they can support Party Shack and what you guys, how they can get in touch.
If you're interested, just email me, joe@partyshack.usa.com. That's joe@partyshack.usa.com. And if you have any questions or you need any information, just send me an email and we'll get it right back to you. And
There
Matt, I want to thank you for having me. I apologize for the technical difficulties early on, but it's been a pleasure, and would love to come back, at a later date and talk some more.
Anytime. We'll make that happen down the road. Joe, have a great week. Everyone, thanks for tuning into the Wolff Den presented by Win Again Academy. Check out winagainacademy.com. Check out partyshack.usa.com. We got some great guests the rest of this week, and we'll see you soon. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Matt. Have a good day.